Hi, I'll be reading from Mina's Child, who's just arrived, my copy, and all you need to know is this. It's 1921, a generation after the events described in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Jonathan and Mina Harker have had two children, Quincy and Abry. Quincy was killed in the Great War. This is from Abry's point of view. Father's shriek was much louder than usual. This time it had formed a name. Quincy! As Abby hauled herself from her dream, luminous tadpoles swam around her, trailing their comet tails. Abby's dream had been luscious, all-enveloping, but this awakening was violent. She shrugged off her bedsheet and switched on her bedside lamp. Then she waited. Fear flooded around her like a rising moat. Huddled in the light's milky halo, Abby heard a far-off click, then Mother's soft voice, soothing like honey, stirring in a pot. Mother had become adept at soothing of late. The tadpoles swam for a few moments more before fading into sparks, and then nothing. A moth, small and white, like a paper scrap, battered its way around her lampshade. Mother had dealt with the situation successfully, it seemed. She was talking softly. Whether responding or not, Father was obviously calm. Abby chased a desire to sink back into the same dream. She knew it didn't work that way. The dream's details, so magical while she was experiencing them, were reconstituting themselves into waking thoughts. The scenario was no longer seen sublime, but merely absurd. Abby had been the back end of a pantomime horse. The front end, a girl who seemed to know her but whom Abby couldn't place, had been rhapsodizing about the stars. It had been weird enough but supremely enticing. A glorious cornucopia of flavors, textures, and colors had dwelt within her friend's descriptions. Stardust had tingled on Ambry's tongue like some impossible combination of childhood sherbet and champagne. Friend had promised they would soon change places. Abby would have her turn to gaze at the heavens and absorb the wonder. And then, Father's shriek. She couldn't be mistaken about the word. Quincy still echoed in the hiss of the bedsheet against her nightdress. She'd already known about the nightmares were about Quincy, of course. It made sense that the dead son should haunt his father's dreams. What had never made sense was the fact that his son's name never passed through his lips during the day. Father not talking about Quincy created a forbidden space in the house, a dangerous vacuum. Mother and Abby had stopped talking about him too. Quincy existed only in the silence, nestled between the ticks of the grandfather clock. The weight of sleep hadn't left Abby, but she felt too rootless not to move, like a limb searching for its body. She slipped out of bed quietly as she could and padded slowly to the curtains, pulling the lapels of her nightdress close around her neck with one hand, reaching to tug the opening in the curtains with the other. She gazed into the pre-dawn Belgrade Square with its dark wall of houses some 200 yards opposite, beyond the gardens. As she watched, a yellow light came on in an attic window. The servant must have woken in a house just like her own. Dawn couldn't be far away. She looked into the gardens, a sea of wavering leaves, small birds hurtling like grenades from one branch to another, preparing for the day. Moonlight touched the iron teeth of the railing of the fencing. Someone, a lone watcher, sat on one of the benches. A young man, it seemed, from his outline. He appeared to be gazing at the Harker's own house, or at some point very close to it. Abby could just make out the outline of his suit, the paleness of his hands and face. Whoever it was seemed quite motionless, almost as though in a trance. She moved away quickly and let the curtains drop. The bedside lamp was on. She could be seen.